This is United Network News with Sunny Galt, Calen, Kimberly Gogan, and our field messengers from around the world. Here's today's real news.
In recent months, China's ruling Communist Party has tightened control over government officials and educators traveling abroad. Since pandemic restrictions ended, officials from various state organizations must submit their passports for safekeeping to ensure they return to China.
Earlier this year, the party's disciplinary committee warned members they need their employer's approval to travel overseas. Ignoring this could lead to severe disciplinary actions. People without a valid private passport may not be able to apply for one, and those with passports are being told to surrender them to avoid discipline. The system reportedly stems from a regulation dating back to 2003, designed initially for high-ranking officials, and has now been extended to include rank-and-file public sector employees. Members of the ruling political party cannot obtain foreign nationality, permanent residency abroad, or private passports without prior approval. They must submit detailed travel plans and stick to approved routes, avoiding unauthorized activities. Warnings about private overseas travel have been issued to government officials, state-owned enterprise employees, and their families, affecting many. In July, Radio Free Asia reported these restrictions now apply to teachers, school children, and state-owned bank employees, especially before the summer holidays. These groups must either hand over their passports or get permission before traveling abroad.
Chinese President Xi Jinping is tightening control by recalling passports from teachers and public sector employees to restrict their international travel. This is part of the Personal Travel Abroad Management System, aimed at monitoring who can leave the country. Teachers and state employees face strict approval processes to travel abroad, with some denied permission entirely. The travel restrictions, which have expanded beyond COVID-19 measures, also target officials, retirees, and employees in state-owned enterprises, reflecting government concerns about espionage and foreign influence. Critics warn this may limit China's global engagement and understanding.
This isn't a new development. Since 2018, educators have been required to hand over their passports, and local authorities in regions like Fujian and Shandong require government approval for traveling abroad. While travel alerts have been part of life for Chinese citizens for years, especially during the COVID pandemic, these measures have intensified. During this period, increased scrutiny was reported at borders, with the police questioning returning citizens about their activities abroad and even confiscating passports.
Well, it seems like China reinvented time travel. Right now, they're moving back to Mao Zedong's time. If you're a teacher, you will be forced to give your passport to the school. Before going anywhere abroad, you will have to apply for permission from your school. The Chinese Communist government is afraid of teachers actually going out, seeing the world, and then telling their students how does the world look like. Similar systems were present in different communist regimes and communist governments. For example, communist-controlled Poland. Also, you have to give your passport to the police officers. Before going abroad, you have to apply to get your passport. Countries like the Soviet Union used to have exit visas. So we see that China is moving back in time swiftly, and it's very worrying to witness.
In addition to teachers, retirees are also encountering restrictions. Those who previously retired from state-owned companies are asked to return their passports, citing security issues, thereby preventing them from visiting family abroad.
To rigorously manage the departure of Chinese citizens, there have been numerous reports of the Chinese Communist Party imposing exit bans and tightening passport regulations, with some even suggesting the suspension of passport issuance. This video was filmed on March 10th outside a neighborhood committee office in Liangyungan City, Jiangsu Province. According to the person filming, a banner suddenly appeared here stating "Zero tolerance for illegal immigration, strict crack down on all illegal immigration crimes. The appearance of this video coincidentally confirms rumors of China's strict tightening of passport policies. Some local people commented under the video saying, "There are many people here who work abroad without going through proper channels. Issuing passports in our country have been suspended." Another person whose location showed as the United States said, "Many of the people I know here are from Liangyuangang, Jiangsu. There are Donghai people." A resident of Donghai County in Liangyuangang City confirmed to the media that there are many people leaving the country, known as the Second Fujian, and that the suspension of passport issuance is true. He said many Jiangsu people are illegally leaving the country, especially in the Liangyuangang and Donghai areas. It's not just Jiangsu recently. Reports of strict restrictions or suspensions on passport issuance have emerged from various parts of China. In some places in Guizhou, authorities even directly confiscated individuals' passports, claiming to keep them for safekeeping.
Travel bans have historically targeted religious and ethnic minorities. In 2022, Christians faced passport approval difficulties, with rejections based on their beliefs. For more than 2 decades, similar restrictions have mostly affected Muslims, limiting their travel. Tibetan communities have also been impacted by these limitations. Occasionally, authorities extend travel restrictions to all citizens, as seen during the pandemic. The main reason behind these restrictions is the concern for people leaving permanently or leaking sensitive state information abroad, as more Chinese citizens are seeking asylum abroad. For state employees, passport retention is tightly controlled to prevent them from transferring large amounts of money out of the country. The government considers unauthorized travel a serious breach of political discipline, showing their careful approach to international mobility.
The implementation of this policy also sheds light on the larger issue of China's state surveillance and control over its population. With the widespread use of facial recognition technology and censorship of online content, many are concerned this policy is just one more tool for the government to monitor and restrict the actions of its citizens. This raises concerns about individual privacy and freedom in China, especially compared to other countries with more liberal policies. The situation shows the difficult balance citizens must maintain between personal freedoms and the state's demands for loyalty and security.
In Albuquerque, New Mexico, USA, a tank labeled Hydra 2 is being transported without American flags, sparking curiosity about its origin and purpose. UNN Field Messenger Lawrence reports on this intriguing sight.
Hi, this is Field Messenger Lawrence here with UNN. I'm here on the way on Labor Day. Today's Labor Day 2024. I'm on the way to the lake just to go hang out for the day. And I stopped here at the gas station here in on the way to the lake. They call it Limitar. And you can see right behind me here, there's a tank on the back of a trailer being moved, you know. So right away I was like, oh, look at the tank. And I'm like, wow, well, we are in the United States, so I bet there's going to be some flags on it, you know. So I was like, wow, let's go check it out. And then this is what I saw. Hydra 2, huh? I don't see no American flags on it. We are in America. Well, let's see. Got some gunner racks up there. Got some pretty new Michelin tires. Wow. No American flags though, huh? Alright. Hydra might be the new something. Very interesting. Well, anyways, I just want to do a report on this and let everyone know kind of what's going on here in New Mexico on Labor Day 2024. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. I just want to send love to everyone and just shine, shine bright, and just love, 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 and everything's going to be all right. Field Messenger Lawrence Love here. Have a wonderful day.
Cuba is still struggling with major power outages in 2024, which are taking a toll on the everyday lives of its citizens. The blackouts caused by an outdated energy system and lack of modern technology are disrupting everything from businesses to healthcare and homes.
On October 3rd, fuel shortages and failing power plants led to nationwide power cuts, plunging more than half of the island into darkness. As a result, many Cubans were left without essentials like lights and cooling. These recent power shortages follow months of prolonged blackouts across Cuba, with 95% of its power generated from oil-burning plants. Cuba's energy problem is clear. Without fuel, the plants can't run. The energy crisis is worsened by U.S. sanctions that make it hard for Cuba to import fuel for energy, transportation, and agriculture. Shipping companies risk sanctions for working with Cuba, making import costs up to 3 times higher than usual prices. This restriction damages Cuba's economy by draining its resources and disrupting the steady flow of essential supplies.
Hello, my friends. I'm here in Cuba, Sunday, March 17th, where there have been major protests on the island, particularly in the eastern provinces, in the city of Santiago. People came out demanding water, demanding electricity, demanding more access to food. But there's a part of the story that doesn't get told in the U.S. media. And it's that the U.S. blockade has been strangulating the Cuban economy to the point where they can't receive regular fuel shipments. They can't receive regular shipments of food. And the situation is deteriorating. The U.S. blockade, now under the command of the Biden administration, is making it impossible for the Cuban people to make it to the next day. Our message is clear. Let Cuba live. If Biden really wants to stand by the Cuban people, if the U.S. government were to actually care about the Cuban people, they would immediately end this blockade. In fact, with the stroke of a pen, they could actually take Cuba off the state sponsors of terrorism list, which prevents Cuba from accessing financial services around the world and be able to trade freely. This situation, like many others in Cuba's recent past, will undoubtedly be used by the U.S. government to justify further acts of intervention. Now is the time that we say not just let Cuba live, but to the U.S. government, hands off on all your efforts to intervene and to make of this situation in which ordinary people are demanding what is theirs becomes a situation of political unrest when it isn't the case. As people from the United States and right here from Cuba, we stand with the Cuban people. We will fight with them for a world without blockades, without sanctions, and where the Cuban people will be the masters of their own destiny, able to solve their own problems without U.S. intervention. Let Cuba live.
In addition to sanctions, Cuba's aging thermal power plants, many older than 30 years old, are becoming inefficient and prone to breakdowns. Maintenance and machinery upgrades are expensive, and the blockade prevents Cuba from accessing international financial markets for funding. The country is in a deep economic crisis, lacking essentials like food, fuel, and medicine. The situation has further deteriorated since the pandemic, with tourism declines and soaring inflation worsening the economic strain. This resulted in protests across Cuba earlier in March, with people voicing their frustration over severe food and electricity shortages. Demonstrators gathered in Santiago de Cuba and nearby towns, chanting for food and criticizing the government.
Hi, everyone. Power shortages are so acute in Cuba that people are marching in the streets. Now, let me be clear. This is not common in Cuba. You march in the streets, you stage a protest, you could be arrested and thrown into prison. But the BBC reported just recently about a protest that occurred last Sunday. Here's the lead. Hundreds of people in Cuba's second largest city, Santiago, staged a rare public protest over chronic power blackouts and food shortages. Again, that's the BBC, and this was not in Havana. This was in Santiago, which is east of Havana, if memory serves. But Cuba is already an electricity-poor country. It's what I call part of the low-watt world. Per capita electricity consumption in Cuba is about 1,800 kilowatt hours per capita per year. That's far less than the 12,000 kilowatt hours per capita we consume here in the U.S.
Overnight blackouts have become common, forcing many families to suffer through hot conditions without electricity. This is especially hard on children, who struggle to sleep due to the heat and mosquito bites. As a result, many parents choose not to send their children to school, as they can't concentrate without enough rest. In some areas, power cuts last up to 20 hours a day, disrupting daily life and affecting healthcare services. People report sleeping outside to escape the heat, while others can't access basic needs, like running water, due to non-functioning pumps. Recent reports highlight severe power outages affecting hospitals across the island, worsening healthcare challenges. These facilities, once safe from blackouts, now face long periods without power. Hospitals that relied on their own generators are now powerless due to fuel shortages. Patients have voiced concerns on social media about missed appointments and lack of accountability from authorities. Hospitals in the capital struggle without working elevators and reliable power, with videos showing corridors lit only by cell phones.
It's just after 6 on Saturday night. It's not quite dark, but the power blackouts have returned to Maron, Cuba. So this is what it's like walking through my house in the dark. And a solar light there. Solar light there. Solar lights there. We're in my living room, but you can't tell. And here's the front door. All the poles showing outside.
Provincial clinics also experience blackouts, creating dangers for severe cases and expecting mothers. Although oil and gas shipments have started to arrive, they are insufficient and untimely, prolonging the problems caused by widespread blackouts.
Cuba's persistent power outages continue to worsen the already dire economic and social situation, leaving its citizens in a state of uncertainty. The country's severe economic crisis has led many Cubans to leave the island in search of better opportunities, further complicating the island's challenges.
In Fuerteventura, Spain, a new resort is under construction on volcanic ground, making a significant development in the region. UNN Field Messenger Emma reports on this project.
Hi, this is Emma, Field Messenger for UNN, reporting from Fuerteventura, Spain. Today's report is about construction on volcanic ground. One morning we woke up by a noise and the ground was shaking a bit under us. The glasses clinked in the cupboards, and then we knew. More construction work in the neighborhood. They had announced that they were going to build a new Elba hotel complex in the area. So then we found out the Elba Hotel will be a 4-star resort with 478 rooms and will be built on a 600,000 square meter plot. It's basically one block. They will invest 100 million euros and add 1,000 new tourist beds to Fuerteventura's hotel offer. This is making it the largest resort in the northern part of Fuerteventura, and the new resort will include landscapes, recreational areas, and 26 swimming pools. It will also have 7 restaurants, bars, spa, health, beauty treatments, and a fitness area. So that's it. But before they started building, they had a large job preparing for the construction because Fuerteventura is a volcanic island and the rules are different. So the government of the Canary Islands have developed a guide that will allow code enforcement to volcanic terrain on the Canary Islands. All of the islands are volcanic in origin and form and covers a large territory in the Atlantic Ocean. The economy is based primarily on tourism, and due to the tourism and the population growth, the construction sector had been very important in the economy of the islands. Thank you for watching. Hope you liked the report.
Environmental disasters can be scary for anyone, but for children, it can be especially overwhelming. Whether it's a hurricane, earthquake, wildfire, or flood, kids may have a hard time processing what's happening to our planet. So how do we approach these topics with sensitivity and care? So today, Oriane is joining us. Welcome, Oriane, to the news. I'm so glad that you're with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Sunny. Thank you.
Yeah. So you are a novelist. I feel like you wear many different hats, but you are a novelist and you have recently written a book that is geared for children. And it really opens up the conversation to kids about our environment, about protecting our environment, about our connection to the environment. So today I want to talk a little bit about how we have conversations with our kids involving difficult environmental topics. So recently, as of this recording, we just had 2 hurricanes sweep through the United States. You and I are both in the United States. And, that's pretty heavy. There was a lot of stuff on TV and we saw a lot of images of disaster type stuff. How can we as parents, now that you've written your book with that perspective, how can we approach this with our kids? What are some of your recommendations in bringing forth, the beauty of this planet that we live on? We want to care for it. How do we have those discussions?
I think the best way to have this conversation with kids is to explain to them that Earth is a living being. So as I did in my novel where I personified Earth, I created this protagonist who is the spirit of Earth, this incredibly beautiful woman covered with moss and flowers. We can explain to kids that, like a person, Earth is a living being and we need to protect her. She's beautiful, but she's fragile. And what we witness today, what we see, what we hear in the news is a mirror of our actions, of our disastrous action as humans towards the planet. So by explaining to kids that she's almost like a woman, let's say, and she's talking to us, kids can understand in a more relatable way when they hear about Hurricane Helen or Hurricane Milton, for instance. Look, this is Earth talking to us. We need to stop. We need to protect her because otherwise we disrupt the climate, we disrupt nature, and those actions have disastrous consequences for us humans on the planet. I think we need to look at indigenous cultures. Indigenous cultures always shared with the world the importance of living in harmony with nature. They shared with us their wisdom that all things are interconnected. So I think that a first step would be to personify Earth. So by personifying Earth, kids will feel closer to the planet and will understand these tragic events that are occurring, in our times, with having the feeling that they are being empowered, that they can do something about it. So the key also is to empower them, even if parents can tell them that they can be proud of their the slightest contribution, this can have a ripple effect and we can all protect our beautiful home.
Yeah. I think the key too is because I'm a mom, I've got 4 kids, and especially with my younger 2 kids, my girls, I'm trying to get them out in nature more, making them feel more comfortable. One of the things that we did recently that I really thought, to your point, helped humanize Earth and give it more of a personality is with some of our plants in our backyard, we actually named them. My daughters named the plants. We looked up the actual name, the biological, name of the plant. And then we based the names off that. But they're like everyday names, and we created little name tags for them. So now when my kids go outside, they're talking to Tom, and Tom is a tomato plant, right?
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. That's an incredible initiative.
Yeah, it was really fun to do too. They had a blast.
Exactly. The point is also to have fun. Kids need to learn by having fun. That's crucial.
Yes, absolutely. And I think the younger we can do that too, the better, because our kids are super smart. They're super smart. And I think they naturally have that connection to our planet. It's just after being here for so many years, we have a tendency to lose that, to focus on other things. So the earlier we can start to instill that in our kids, I think the better off they'll be.
Absolutely. And then it becomes, integrated in their daily routine.
Yeah.
And yes, I mean, the purpose of my book is basically to invite them to become a guardian of Earth and by accessory, their parents too. Let's all become guardians of Earth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the name of the book, right?
Yes, it is. And that's why I chose this name.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of the book.
Now, I know that you're a novelist, that you've been writing your whole life, but what really prompted you to write this book specifically and at this time?
So this book is the direct result of an expansion of consciousness, a spiritual awakening, if you will, as I don't know if you're familiar with former Buddhist monk Adyashanti, but that's how he qualified this type of events. Okay. So I had this epiphany while hiking in nature where I felt incredibly connected with nature, showered with unconditional love. And it struck me then how nature is in peril and how we all need to protect her. So this book is first and foremost a produce of this spiritual awakening. Mm-hmm. And I used, the poetic form to render homage to Earth's beauty, also as a result of this beautiful epiphany that I was lucky enough to experience a few years ago now.
I love it. Yeah, I think kids are going to love it too. And again, I love the concepts that you're bringing forward. So, Oriane, thank you so much for being with us today, and thank you for writing your book.
Thank you so much for having me. It has been a pleasure, and congratulations on all of your wonderful initiatives to protect the planet. Thank you.
Oriane's book, The Guardians of Earth, is now available online through Amazon and Barnes & Noble. You can also get the book through her website, where she posts daily green gestures and family eco-friendly activities.
New developments are rapidly transforming areas in New Jersey, USA, into 15-minute cities, blending residential retail and dining spaces. UNN Field Messenger Amy reports on the progress of these developments.
Field Messenger Amy reporting for UNN from the great state of New Jersey. And today we're in Parsippany, and we're also going to see in Denville, where we have 15-minute cities being built all over.
Welcome to District 1515, located at Route 10 East in Parsippany, New Jersey. This 17-acre site used to be an office complex, and it has been replaced by this mixed-use development complex containing residential units, restaurants, and retail. These multi-residential developments have been mandated by the state. I believe all governors of all U.S. states have agreed to build these complexes, which must include a percentage of the residential units must be for low to medium income people. There are 564 municipalities in New Jersey. 16 of these are taking legal action not to comply. Denville is one such town. However, here you can see a brick building complex. There used to be 2. However, one was torn down and replaced with this multi-dwelling building. Also, on Route 10 East, but in Denville, they have deforested this large area where more multi-residential townhomes are being built, known as Mason Ridge. This all-inclusive living complex also now takes the place of an office building complex. These last 2 buildings and the other one that Parsippany has put in will add a total of 1,400 units.
Well, I hope you liked it. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Now it's your turn. Join our weekly meetings and become a field messenger. More information is available at our website, unitednetwork.earth. We're UNN, and we're taking back the news.